Hello and welcome to the Thinking Cap Solutions podcast, talking everything content, audience engagement and leadership. My name is Kay Mickey Maher. Hello, is that you?
Corey, we are back together after a bit of an extended break.
Been a while.
Wasn't a holiday. There was a bit of sickness in there, and in particular, a lot of bloody work on your behalf, mate.
Mate, it has been. It's been a busy little period. I have been working with some clients, majority of them being real estate, and that is on testimonial campaigns, which is going to be the topic today. For those, testimonials have been around since the dawn of time. Essentially a statement or endorsement or experience from a client, customer or partner that communicates trust, credibility and proof of results. Think of it as someone doing the marketing for you, talking on your behalf. So let's just drill into the testimonial, Mickey, and there are different versions of it. What are those different versions?
We're all pretty common with these ones. There's written testimonials, there's audio testimonials and video testimonials. And let's start on the written ones. I mean, they've been around absolutely forever. Most people would commonly see them with things like Google review, those kind of things. But it's not uncommon these days to see written testimonials across social from brands. We see it a lot in real estate. Maybe it's because we're doing a lot of work with them at the moment. It's very common to see agents posting written testimonials. And a lot of the conversations that we have with agents and agencies that we work with, the emphasis that they put on the written reviews on realestate.com and the importance of having a 5-star rating is second to none. It's actually quite overwhelming how much kudos is given to that. And that worries me a bit because I actually think it's misleading and it's actually really not that relevant to anyone that an agent should be trying to target, which is a buyer or a seller. Because if you think about it, if I'm a buyer or a seller and I'm going to realestate.com looking for an agent in my area, I can tell you now, I reckon 8 out of 10 agents are going to have a rating between 4.8 and 5 anyway. Cancels each other out. And who's got the time to be reading all the reviews to see which one's worded in a way that goes, oh, that's the agent that appeals to me. So there's just too much emphasis on that.
Yeah, not to undervalue the rating, because obviously, if you're 4.2, that's going to hurt you. But the point is, majority are between 4.8 and 5. And whether there's that much difference, like you say, is it really going to drive my decision? But then the extension of that is the testimonials. I will look through a testimonial and I think just with the social platforms, even how people use them now, no one's interested in reading a tile that's been written that hasn't even got a face to it. I was reading one the other day, Mickey, and it was, again, exactly what I expect from a testimonial. Such and such was great to deal with. They're trustworthy. They got it done in a certain amount of time. Generic. It was just resident of said suburb. I think it's lazy. I think it's filler rather than having content in there that's going to engage. That just gets them another day's post. And I think you'd be far better off and actually having some content in there that could sit there for 2 or 3 days, not have anything around it, rather than this generic posted, I don't know where it's come from, maybe you've written it, is it through ChatGPT? Whilst I think testimonials are really powerful, I think there is a place for it. I think of restaurants where I'd probably read and get something out of it. That's very different to a lot of other industries, and particularly real estate. Already there's potentially a stigma of, well, who's actually doing these reviews? You're amplifying it. You're actually amplifying the stigma by putting up a generic testimonial with no name on there.
Yeah. And the other point on that is the lack of the emotive that can come from a written testimonial is just absent. So it's words on a page. And in particular, if you don't put a name to it as well, it's kind of like, well, that means nothing to me. I don't know the person. You're not identifying the person. They're just generic words. The power of other ways of doing testimonials done well can actually have the right kind of impact that you want.
At least make me feel something. Every time I read one, Mickey, I always take the next step and I treat it like it's ridgy-dig. And I look at those words and I think, imagine being able to sit down with them. If they are willing to actually put those words on there and they've got a glowing endorsement for that person, what's the story that we can find inside of that? So they mentioned the turnaround time. Was that really important to them? And was it important to them because of something that was going on in their life? And all of a sudden, these stories add up to something which will connect with me on an emotional level. They're so surface. Let me hear their voice. Let me see their facial expressions. Get them to a place where they are talking to you as a person who goes, this real estate agent made a difference to me.
And that's important for any brand, is to understand, why are we doing testimonials in the first place? If it's to tick a box or a filler, as you say, and I reckon you're right. I reckon there's a lot that just do it as content filler. Everyone knows that they need to be in the world of content these days, and they're going, all right, I've got 7 days worth of content I've got to fill. Oh, let's just get a written testimonial, or I'll write one myself, or whatever it is, and I'll put that up. And you know what? To your point, you're better off going a day without than putting something like that up, which is just wastage. And you've got to also put yourself in the intended audience's mind. Put yourself in their shoes. If they are seeing or reading this, do you really believe it's going to shift their opinion of you or the brand or whatever it is that you're trying to portray in the testimonials? And if the answer is not a definitive 100% it will, then don't do it. Because then there's the audio space, right? And we worked a lot in this in our media careers, Corey, in radio. And from a radio, well, we didn't call them testimonials per se, but they were listener endorsements. And for anyone that listens to the radio, it's typically you'll hear someone, hi, it's Jenny from this suburb, and I love the music on this radio station, or that's my favourite breakfast show, or I love the prizes. And they used to be the pain of our existence in some ways, right? Because why? Great testimonials are not easy to capture, but done well, they can be truly a game changer. And we know from our radio world, we've seen the best and the worst, or heard the best and the worst of them. The best ones were ones that took a lot of time to get the right stories, the right people to tell those stories, and to capture the right words that you needed to capture. More often than not, what we found in radio, though, it was rushed because people were time poor and, we just need to get these. And the thing is, you put them on the radio and you hear them and you go, that sounds like an actor that's saying that. That doesn't sound real. And if anything, that does more damage to your brand, because people go, well, that's clearly not real. You guys are faking that. And that's not a perception that any brand wants, right? Worse, though, what we saw in radio is the diminish of testimonials. And I think that's a disservice to the brand. And in fact, I think it's a disservice to any brand that doesn't do testimonials. They are really powerful if done right, for the right reasons, in the right way, and executed perfectly. Radio just moved away in a lot of instances. It's rare you hear radio do it anymore because it just became time poor.
Nothing comes close to the content and the conversation and the outcome you can get from having someone in a room and having a meaningful conversation with them. And you're really mining for, anyone who listens to radio, sometimes they're 5-second grabs. It's collecting these little moments, and these little moments add up to a story, and the story makes me feel something. And that is the power of having great testimonials. Audio can be really powerful. And that leads us now to what I've been doing a lot of, and that's video. Video's become a very powerful part of it. And now we have these platforms, Mickey, testimonials and video testimonials, to me, almost are the holy grail now to connect your brand, your story, and build that social trust.
The great thing is we are seeing more and more of the video thing, testimonials. But I think you would agree with this. What we are seeing, at least in the real estate game, we're talking a lot about that because we're doing a lot of work in it at the moment, is the missing key elements here. And a lot of the key elements are the things that you just talked about in particular that we've learned through our careers. A lot of what we're seeing is, and not to be disrespectful in any mean, but it's typically videographers recording them. They're brilliant at video, elite level, capturing a video. But in many instances, they don't have the art form of capturing moments, content, stories to be able to share. And that's the power and knowledge that you and I have garnished over 30 years in our careers, is how to do that. And that's the missing key here, right? Is the ability to get that. You talked about that when you talked about what we did in radio. You know, that investment in time with someone, to get to know them, to actually ask the right questions to get the gold. That's the power. You could invest 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it might be, to get just a short nugget of gold. But that nugget of gold could be the difference that changes the perception of your brand or pushes more product in a way that you otherwise are not capturing.
You're finding real, and real's not easy to find particularly. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to be in front of a microphone. It's unnatural to be in front of a camera. I know I get nervous giving a speech, and then you're asking someone to do that. But there are ways and means, and there's a real art form to getting that out of someone. We've just, by virtue of our industry, just that we're in a communication industry, we've had to interview people whether we're on the air and then doing these listener endorsements like it's just second nature. And it's only now that we delve in. And we've always talked about, and we're harking on about real estate, but again, it broadens out whether you're a gym owner. There's a bunch of other industries. But I want to give credit as well because everyone, I think, is understanding they're a content creator, and there's some real estate agents doing some really cool stuff out there that I just love. But the testimonial side of it, I think that is a totally different ballgame. And you mentioned the videographers. And I don't want to throw shade at all, because to me it comes down to experience. If I'm working with an agent now, I want to find out what the history is. How have you done testimonials before? I want to find out what they've been doing, how they execute it. To a degree, Mickey, finding out why they're so bland and uncovering that.
That's a great point, because like the written ones where it just becomes vanilla, that's kind of what we're seeing in some instances. In a lot of instances, if I'm being really honest, in some of the video testimonials we're seeing. It's great that people are understanding the importance of it. It's great that people are giving it a crack, and we always encourage that. Just give things a crack. But what we're seeing is quite often it's the vanilla. It's obvious questions. It's the same questions. It's kind of short answers that you're getting, and it's stuff that, you know what? You could take the brand that it's intended for and put any other brand on it, and it could mean something. Great testimonials are unique to you, to that specific product or person. That's the power.
I think when they go into it, from what I've discovered, usually it sounds like it's at the end of whether they've shot kind of a bit of the house and got some B-roll, and they've taken the 5 minutes to get the lines that they need and want out of them, whether it's working with the agent. And that's why you see it also very much generic. It'll be on whether it's the price point, it's the turnaround time, the trustworthiness, and the real gold is the extended conversation. And again, I don't want to throw shade on videographers, but my feedback is that a lot of them are introverted. So how could you expect someone who's quite introverted to have these meaningful conversations? And this isn't to say all of them. I'm just going from my experience and who I'm talking to and what I'm looking at. And what I do know about testimonials and what I love about doing them is sitting down and talking to someone, because you're actually talking to someone who usually is coming off the back of a pretty amazing experience, and that's selling a house, but it's a significant moment in their life, and there's a lot of emotions that come with it, and it's about uncovering those emotions and uncovering those stories. So I will actually catch up, and this is let's start rolling out the tips if you are doing testimonials, because this also should be about, if you're going to do them, let's do them well. So here's a couple of things, right? Take your time. It's not 5 minutes. I did a session with someone, and it was 25 minutes. And it was 25 minutes. Sometimes it'll be 25 minutes because it takes me 20 minutes to get them to the place where I need them to then be comfortable to get what I need. Sometimes it's like, I'm going to give you 3 months worth of content out of this because they are just rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat. It takes time, and give it that time. And
invest the time and effort for sure.
Do your research. Don't go in point and shoot and just ask the mundane questions. Talk to the real estate agent. And when I say talk to the real estate agent, not when you get there. I catch up with them and I allocate at least 10 to 30 minutes to tell me everything you can. So when I go in there, I'm fully armed. A, I know what you want. B, you might give me some insights on stories. Oh, they told me this amazing story about, I'll give you one example. I found out through talking to the agent that they had a really bad experience with the agent prior to them. I feel like they've had an amazing one with me, and I've changed the way they think about real estate agents. Bang. Okay, great. I can go in with that. And the other thing I would say is, don't just go in with exactly what you want in mind. Be open to, and this is from media career, if you head along the trunk and you end up on a branch and you might end up somewhere else really, really special. I did one and I ended up talking, and this was not in the uncovery session. We're having the conversation. I've got some really good stuff and they're opening up, and then find out that they had a home birth in that house. Told the entire story of the home birth. That content is far more special than someone looking down the barrel and going, they're a really good agent. They got me a really good price. Now we're talking about sticky content. If you've actually got people on that isn't even self-serving, not self-serving you as an agent that you are great at negotiation, you're humanizing real estate. You're humanizing the experience. That, I think, also goes amiss as well. Take your time. Do the preparation. The preparation doesn't happen when you land. The preparation happens prior. Find out about these people beforehand so that then you can drill and go. And third, be prepared and actually want to head off in other directions that could be really special. And those three things combined will elevate your testimonials through the roof. I'll add a fourth, actually. I'm going to add a fourth. Have the right person behind the camera. You got to have the right person, and that might be you as the real estate agent. If you have the relationship and you're confident and you feel like that's something that you could be really good at, is getting it out of them. The challenge will be, though, you're having them talk about you. Asking questions about yourself can feel really weird. That's why having a third party doing it. But find the right person, because the quality of the question and the quality of the navigation is going to also dictate what the outcome will look like as well. So that person might be in your office. It could be another agent. I don't know. But I would take that into account as well. It's
about ensuring that any testimonials you'll do align with your brand.
Yes.
And or the perception that you are trying to create. So for a personal brand in particular, we talk about agents, but anyone, it could be a business owner or whatever. What are the perceptions that you want out there about you, or you're trying to change, or whatever it is? So if you're trying to establish yourself in your market, you might be trying to show your point of difference. If you've been around a long time, you might want to show why you're still relevant. So yeah, making sure your testimony is aligned to your brand, to the perceptions that you want, and help deliver the desired outcome you want. What is the intent of doing this? And you nailed it there around it's humanistic, it's storytelling, it's authenticity, and the power and the time and effort and the prep and all those things you talk about pays off, because all of a sudden you have something that no one else can replicate. No one else. And I think you undersell, Corey, the work that you've done, and to be honest with you, because seeing the finished product to me, and yeah, I'm your business partner, but no, you're not paying me to say this, I think is outstanding. And that's not just my perception. The feedback from the clients that you've worked with has been phenomenal. And I'm happy to put it out there. Other agents contact agents that you've done these for and go, who'd you get to do testimonials? They're great. The point of difference is there. And it's powerful. So if there's anything that we want to make very clear is that the art and the power of testimonials is still alive and exceptionally well, but they've got to be done well. And we can help you with that. But we've also given you plenty of tips that you can go away and do that yourself if you take those key points on board. So if you want to know more, we're happy to have a conversation with you. Please reach out to us, thinkingcapsolutions.com.au, or LinkedIn, Thinking Cap Solutions, all one word.